Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. On this channel, MT and Possibilities, we talk about how you can achieve your dreams. And we are saying that everything is possible. If you plan on it and if you want to achieve it, you can do that. And I know that most of us have got a dream of owning our own land and our own house. And this is achievable. So today I want to talk about how you can have a rural homestead and how you can attain land in rural Zimbabwe. A lot of people have been asking me, how do you get a stand in Ntabazinduna area or in the rural areas? Today I want to give you information on how you can get land in the rural areas of Zimbabwe. I know a lot of people have been specific about how to get land in Ntabazinduna, but I get it, a lot of other people also watch from other areas and they might have the same interest as to how you get land in rural Zimbabwe. So I'll just generalize and then later on just go specific to how to get land in Ntabazinduna. One way one can get land, every person in Zimbabwe has got a place where they call kumusha or ekaya or their village of origin. Even when you are taking an ID, you know that's a tough question that you have to answer all the time. Who is your headman? Where is your village of origin? So everyone has such, and thus everyone can then claim to have at least a piece of land in that area. How do you get it? When you grow up in the rural areas, as you grow and maybe you get married as a young man, your father, who is the head of the homestead or the patriarch of your homestead, can then decide, okay, I'll give you this piece of land where you can go and build your house. And then they will give you material to assist you to build that house, and they can also assist you with labor, and they will also give you a field that you can use to farm in the area. I remember even when I got married, we went to our rural homestead and we were shown our piece of land where we could build our own house and where we could farm. So generally, I think everyone in Zimbabwe can claim to have at least a piece of land where they originate from. If you are there, whether your parents have passed on, there are still some relatives who know that your parents were so and so, and you are entitled to this piece of land where your parents or your forefathers once lived, and they also farmed in this area. So that's basically how the first way in which you can attain land in rural Zimbabwe. And then the second way, maybe someone decides, okay, fine, I grew up in this village, but I'm no longer interested in staying here for one reason or another. I remember my parents, they once moved from their old village to another village because they wanted to do more farming there. Because their area was a bit dry, they heard that, okay, in such a place, there is better land, there are better rains, there are better weather conditions. So they moved from this village to another village. How did they do it? Well, they told me they got a letter from the headman of their original village, a letter of recommendation as well as a letter of introduction. Well, the letter will be introducing you as a person. Who is this person? Okay, we know him as such and such a person, and this is their ID number, and they've been here staying in this village as a Zimbabwean citizen for so long, and we've been working together well with them. They've no criminal record or any other issues that they've done in the village, and they are coming to your village. They want a piece of land because probably they want to do more farming or so and so forth. So you would then take that letter of recommendation or a letter of introduction to the next village where you want to, and you give it to the headman and inquire if you can get a piece of land, and then you can be given that piece of land. No money is exchanged as a transaction for the land, but maybe you can just thank the headman, or maybe you can buy some traditional beer to just thank the headman, or to thank the council who sits and decides on the matter, or just a goat to thank them, or for them to cook when they are sitting there and deciding on the matter. And you really don't buy land in rural Zimbabwe. So that's another way, transferring from one village to another, getting a letter of recommendation from the headman to the next head. There's a third way in which you can acquire land in rural Zimbabwe. you can buy an already established homestead. And when I'm talking about a homestead, I'm talking about the structures, the house that has already been built by someone. And for some reason, they decide to move from that village and leave the house. Or they probably decide to leave the village and go to the urban areas, but they are living behind a very beautiful house that they want to sell so that someone can use it. Mind you, they're not selling the land. It's just the structure that they are selling. And again, you go through the traditional leaders of that place. You need then to go to them and tell them this is what you have planned as the person who is selling your homestead. And you also tell them, okay, I'm selling it to this person for so much. And they can then oversee the whole process and authenticate the whole process. So you cannot do anything without involving traditional leaders. So that's the third way. You can buy an already established homestead. Someone has already built their homestead houses. Maybe they've drilled a bore or they've got some other structures in the homestead. Those are what they will be selling, not the land. A fourth way in which one can get an area in the rural areas is when maybe someone is selling their own piece of land, they are subdividing their plot. Well, this is really not exactly like the rural areas, but I've noticed that most areas which are near these cities are doing that. A good example is the plots that were in Range Mall. There used to be huge plots where people would do farming activities, agricultural activities. And now those plots are being subdivided into homes, into stands, residential stands. But the whole process involves working with the local authorities for that area and making sure that everything is above board. They sell the piece of land to so and so, and everything is registered through that. Well, because of the close proximity of some rural areas to the cities in Zimbabwe in general, we are seeing some of the areas which are just near the cities also being subdivided. The owners of the homesteads there are subdividing their land, their plots of land, and they are selling to other people. Well, this is generally what's happening on the ground these days. But like we have seen before, most of the rural area or the rural land is communal land. No one really owns the land, so no one can sell the land. That's why it's still debatable whether people who stay near the cities, who have homesteads, can sell their pieces of land or their plots of land to other people. And so the debate is really getting heated. As you can see, I'll just give you some links on the description box of how some of these debates are coming up in the social media as well as the mainstream media. So you can also do your research before you buy such a land. I hope I have helped you and answered most of your questions. Firstly, how much are the stands? Well, according to the laws of Zimbabwe, rural land is not for sale. You only sell the structures that are on the ground, and that is negotiable between you and the seller. So you can sit down with the person who is selling the land to you and you decide how much you can buy that land or that structure or the development in their homestead for. The second question is, who is selling the land? Well, as you have seen when we were discussing, really no one owns the land in communal or rural Zimbabwe. So if you want to get land, you can talk to the traditional leaders of your area. And you're talking about your headmen, your chiefs, or your umpati, or your village head in your specific area. And if it's an area that's being governed by the local authorities, you can also talk to the local authorities. They can assist you to acquire land in rural Zimbabwe. But of late, there's the new development of where we are seeing people selling the land, or especially the Ntabazinduna stands, or these other stands which are near the urban areas, not just of Bulawayo, but in other areas. So how much they are selling, we wouldn't know, because mind you, we say that really it's not the land that they are selling, it's the structures, the developments in their area. If they are selling that structure, you need to go to them, approach them, talk to them, and find out how much they are selling that particular structure for. It's all a discussion that you can have with the person you are buying the. If you've got any other questions that you might want to find out about, their answers about, please feel free to drop them in the comment box. I really appreciate all the comments that you have been sharing, and I'll do my level best to do as much research as I can and then come back to you and share with you. I know it's everyone's dream to own their own home or their own house. So I will try my level best to also share with you as much knowledge as I have about how you can own your own homestead, how you can buy land or acquire land, depending on where you want to get the land from. So thank you so much for keeping the questions coming. I will see you in the next video.